facing off against the Miami Heat today for game day. Can the Bulls get their first back-to-back victories, the first winning streak that they've had all season long in this young season, tonight against the Miami Heat? We're going to talk about it, break it all down, have some fun, and see if this Bulls team can make us proud. All that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans, welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. First, I want to thank you guys for the support of me covering the Windy City Bulls. I can't stress enough how I did not expect those videos to pop off as much as they have. You guys have been supporting it. I appreciate you guys rocking with me in a different level of content. No, not everybody's really interested in the G League, but I really do appreciate that. And with that being said, I also want to talk about tomorrow will officially be the 900th straight day of me dropping content on this channel. 900 straight days of content. No days off, no breaks, no none of that. Even sometimes I post multiple episodes a day, especially during the off season, during free agency, and during the draft, things like that. So I really appreciate you guys for the continued support. 900 straight days we've been rocking together, man. And I appreciate you guys so much on that. But all right, let's get out of that. With all that said, we got a game to talk about today. The Chicago Bulls against the Miami Heat. I already saw some of you guys' comments. No, I didn't take LaVine off the thumbnail. I just rotated it. I felt the look of that thumbnail kind of looked better with just one player each being on it. And I picked the two players that scored the highest points for each team in the last game. I think actually Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero didn't play in the game. Yeah. So that's it. That's all it was. It's not any type of subtle things towards Zack LaVine or anything like that. He'll be back on the thumbnail the next game. I just try to do something different. You know, every thumbnail for pregame shows, I want to have its own feel. And I felt the vibe of that one, just kind of the simplicity of it is what it is there. But hey, man, can the Bulls get back-to-back wins for the first time this season? That's the biggest question. There's 68 games left in the season. Chicago Bulls have played 14 games, have not had back-to-back wins yet. I think they're one of only like 3 teams to not be able to string back-to-back wins together so far this season, which is crazy. And, you know, it took us to really come back and play with a lot of heart in the second half of that game, which has been the story for the Chicago Bulls all this season. We are a much different first half to second half team. If that can ever be consistent, this team may actually be over 500. We have a point differential in crunch time that's like plus 16, but then it's like plus 19, actually. It's 19.3, I believe. But then our point differential in the first quarter is negative 16. Like, the Bulls just have to figure out a way to play consistent basketball throughout all 4 quarters. And I think this season will look a lot different for the Chicago Bulls. Let's hope that they can do that. Defense is going to be highly important to this game. Rebounding the ball is going to be really big as well. One thing, when you have Alex Caruso out there as your starting 4, you are giving up something rebounding. Now, with him also he's been hitting threes down at a better rate. We're actually stretching the floor a little bit better than what we were prior to that. But at the end of the day, like, I still think swapping out Alex Caruso for Torrey Craig was kind of weird when Torrey Craig was starting to play better. But I mean, he's not playing to the level of Alex Caruso. So you got your 5 best players out there theoretically. And, hey, that may just be what Billy Donovan wants to look at and take a look at this team as they're trying to figure out a way to just get some rhythm going. Will players like Zack LaVine, DeMar DeRozan look a little bit more consistent offensively throughout the whole game, right? That's something we want to see as well from them. And I think Nikola Vucevic as well. But the band matchup is always going to be difficult for Vuce, right? So I'm not expecting Nikola Vucevic to necessarily dominate, but I do want to see him play a little bit better on the boards than what he did last game, things like that. Hope we can get that off a little bit more from him. I think it's going to be important. And then we also need the role players to step up a little bit more as well. The bench unit, which brought a lot of energy defensively in the last game, didn't really bring anything much scoring wise. I think we had like a total of like 13 points off the bench, something like that. We need more, and this bench unit has been bringing more. Now you're having Alex Caruso moving from the bench to the starting lineup, so that's a lot of energy you're missing in that bench unit. So we got to see the Bulls try to figure out a way to get that energy. I do think that For example, I think not Alex Caruso, Ayo Dosunmu could be one of those energy guys coming off the bench. I think Billy Donovan would have to put him in kind of a different situation and scenarios, maybe where he's actually, doing a little bit more ball handling. But, it also was a cold night for everyone. I think Javon Carter's three-point shooting is going to be more consistent tonight. His defense is always big for the Chicago Bulls, and we'll see what the type of rhythm we can get in as a team, both offensively and defensively, is going to be important in this game tonight for the Bulls. So overall, coming into this game, am I overly confident? No, because the energy around this team right now sucks ass. Like, it's ball cheeks. Let's just be clear on this. I want to be very clear. The energy around the team right now is ball sack. But hopefully we can play better and we can find better rhythm. And the Zack LaVine scenario doesn't seem like it's going to get a resolution anytime soon, and that's fine. It is what it is there. It's up to the team. It's up to coaching to find a way to fight through that, to fight through the adversity, to quiet out the noise and just focus on playing basketball. That's what this team needs to do. This is the last home game. I think after this one, we're going out for a 4-game road trip. I think it's either 4 or 5 games. So, a team going out on the road that's had the kind of chemistry issues we've seen from the Chicago Bulls is a very scary situation and scenario. I want to be clear on that. So we're going after this game. We're on the road against OKC, Raptors, Brooklyn, and Boston, and we come back home against Milwaukee and New Orleans, and then we have another road stretch a little while after that, but not immediately. So those are all teams that I think like we've lost to. So like you want to be able to find a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of oomph before you go out on the road, because the Bulls have been primarily at home for the last 2 weeks, right? We had that one trip out to Milwaukee, which is basically an extended home game. So we want to try to find a little bit of what we can. If we can find that in the second game against Miami Heat, it'll be big, because I tell you what, that road trip, that could be brutal for the Chicago Bulls, considering what the tone around the team is right now. You're talking about going to play OKC Thunder first, which we play them Wednesday. Then we got Toronto on Friday, Brooklyn on Sunday, which is always could be a young team that gives us some fits, right, with the way that they can play. And then you look at Boston. You're facing Boston to end that next Tuesday, a week from today, a week from tomorrow, I should say. That's a tall test for a team. That's 4 games that could be hellacious for the Chicago Bulls. So, man, they couldn't really find the chemistry at home. So I don't expect them to find it on the road. And we'll see what that's going to be, man. But let's go ahead and get to some of the comments, see how you guys are feeling about today. I think we need to play a more San Antonio type of offense where we move the ball around a lot more instead of just one person trying to facilitate the offense. Listen, I get that. Don't get me wrong. I completely understand that. But what has Billy Donovan done to make you think he's going to change his stripes now 3 years, 4 seasons? This is Billy Donovan's 4th season as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. It ain't happening, man. If Billy were to be fired, is it too late to keep Zach? Same situation as with Larry, kind of. Also would be Zion trade interest. If we could also get some other pieces to make it a little better. We're not getting Zion. I'm just telling you that right now. Let that go. We're not getting Zion. I look at this situation different from Larry, right? Larry was a young player whose confidence got messed up. Zack LaVine is a veteran now. He's been in the league almost a decade. So it's a little bit different there. And also, yes, Jim Boylan killed Larry Markkanen's confidence. They ended up firing Jim Boylan, but the damage was done at that point. I don't the Bulls aren't firing Billy Donovan. They're just not. I wish that they would. Do I think that firing Billy Donovan could maybe convince Zach to stay? I think you also have to improve the roster. I don't think it's just about Billy Donovan. Of course, it's the headlines and things like that. They're going to make it seem like it's just Billy Donovan. I think it really boils down to Zack LaVine wants to win. He sees the mortality in his career now, right? The closer you get to 30 in the NBA, the closer you are to being out the league. That just is what it is. Zack LaVine turns 29 in about 4 months. And as you get closer to that, you have your big contract. It's probably the last time you're going to sign a big contract, unless Zack LaVine has a great last 3 years on this deal. But I don't think that it's just about Billy. I think it's also about the state of the team. If this team was winning, I think Zack LaVine would be able to take whatever his gripes are with Billy Donovan. It's the fact that you have issues with the coach and you're losing. That's bad for everybody. So I think that that's kind of more the thing than right now than it just being Billy Donovan. Yes, the relationship between him and Billy is bad, and that's going to get a lot of the headlines, but I think it's a little bit more than that. Haize definitely got to put some MJ, Pippen, Rodman. Why would I put them on the thumbnail? That doesn't make any sense. Why would they be on the thumbnail? We're talking about games. I don't understand. Like if I ever do an episode, which I may do this offseason on, just an episode of my memories of that second three-peat team, because that was like really the first time that I really, really like I was ingrained in basketball. That first three-peat, I was basically a baby. I don't remember any of that. But that second three-peat's kind of special to me. So I may do an episode on that, like over the offseason, just kind of a, hey, these are my thoughts, my memories from this. But that's probably the most you'll get from that. Shay in the building. Shay says, if I'm Billy Donovan, I would try to put a starter for. Listen, the fact we haven't even those 5 players, we haven't even seen those players on the court at the same time yet. It's crazy. Crazy. My first child was born a week from today, and I haven't had a chance to tune into the channel or games until today. Never thought I'd be so excited for the 2023 Bulls basketball. Well, shout out to you, Corey. Glad to have you in the building, brother. Sean in the building says, yo, Haize, I'm smoking your boy lit. That's funny. You smoking already, Brody? That's crazy, man. But hey, enjoy your life, bro. Enjoy your life. How we feeling, y'all, boys? Hey, listen, I'm feeling, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Is it time to switch Poisons already back to basketball? Yes, we've been here. We've been here. Your boy look like he finna F somebody mama in the dark of the night. See, that would have to be, that's this. You gotta drop that low, right? That's that. And then it got to be zipped all the way up because it's like I don't really want people to see me slide in the house. That's what that is. But no, this is we relax today, bro. We relax. I almost didn't wear Bulls drip again, but I was like, I'll put on something subtle. By the way, you see the metal? You see the metal imprint? You see that? That's metal. That's metal. Listen, we out here, man. We out here. I got exclusive shit, y'all. I got exclusive shit. No, I'm just fucking with you. It's not even exclusive. Hubble Services, great job with the Windy City Bulls. Keep it coming. You're right. Bobby on Chicago Bulls podcast is a rising star. Great feedback he had today about the Bulls. Hey, I'm telling y'all, Bobby and Steve-O are stars, period. And that's not just because they're my brothers. Corey Sykes says, what up, Haize? What's going on, Corey? Glad to have you in the building. We got Quentin from Let's Talk Bulls says, we can only hope the Bulls come out with effort before going down 20. That's crazy. That's wild. What's going on, Auntie? Says she's just stopping by to say hi. Glad to have you in the building, Auntie. With all this Zach drama, and I'm the only one excited about this upcoming game. Listen, I'm excited. I'm always excited to see Chicago Bulls basketball. Like, it is what it is. Like, the drama that'll work itself out. Like, this isn't the first time. This isn't even the worst. Me and Pat, the designer, were actually talking about before we recorded Locked On Bulls today. We were talking about just like, is this the worst trade scenario that we've seen in a minute? The Jimmy Butler trade scenario, I think we kind of we bring in together how that team ended, right? The 3 alpha season was a bad season. Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler kind of isolated themselves off from the rest of the roster, things like that. But it really wasn't like, it's not like Jimmy requested a trade, right? It happened in the offseason. It kind of just happened. We moved on. This situation, to my knowledge, we've never had basically a situation where we're just waiting to trade a player that everybody knows is kind of over it this early into the season. Like, to my knowledge, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Like, the Larry was hurt all the time. So even then that season, we had the questions like what was going to happen with his restricted free agency, things like that. Bobby Portis was all of a sudden as well. We know that they didn't reach in the contract extension. The Bulls were a little bit iffy on that. But this is like one of the worst trade scenarios where it's like, this is so early in. We're 14 games into the season. We were only like 10 games into the season when this initially came out, right? So I think this is one of the weirdest situations and scenarios the Bulls have ever been in with the trade scenario on the player that they made the highest paid player in Bulls history. Haize, I just want to thank you for being a real dude. I put up with me in this team that is going to give me a high blood pressure and a damn heart attack. Don't let the team give you high blood pressure, bro. But listen, we all family. Chicago Bulls Central is a family first and foremost. That's what it comes down to. We're gonna disagree. We're gonna have our tisk. We're gonna go back and forth. Sometimes I'm not even just talking about me and Shay. I just mean generally of people on the channel, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Like, that's it. That's it. So we'll see what happens, man. Congratulations on 900, bro. You the podcast goat. I don't know about all that, man. I'm just out here talking about the team that I love. That's really what it comes down to. I'm just talking about the team that I love, man. 900 straight days is wild, though, bro. Congrats, you got steady consistency, boy. Hey, listen, it's crazy. That's all I can say. Let's get them likes up, y'all. Thank you for that. Love the podcast. Thank you for the content. That's from Jason. Glad to have you in the building, Jason. Shay in the building says, be careful, be very careful of Miami switching tonight on defense. Oh, it's definitely going to happen. That's why it's important if Zack LaVine and DeMar DeRozan can both get into a scoring rhythm early. And I don't mean that they both have to be going off in the same quarter, but if they can make it to where that Eric Spoelstra has to think about, okay, who am I going to put Jimmy on out on that perimeter? It can definitely open up the game for the others. So let's hope that they both can get out in a scoring rhythm early on, right? Travis says, I got a feeling this one, that's this one of these Bulls games where the team we beat come back to trash us. Oh, listen, that's Chicago Bulls 101, brother. Yeah, it wouldn't be surprised with that at all. Congrats on 900. Keep it coming. You know, me and my wife be watching every one of the episodes. Well, I appreciate you, Pops. I really appreciate having you in the building, man. I always appreciate that. Oh, shit, I thought that was a Bucks hat. A Bucks hat? Come on now, fam. You ain't never got to worry. One thing, there are two franchises I struggle to say anything positive about ever. It's the Knicks and the Milwaukee Bucks. I hate both those teams. I hate the city of Cleveland, so they're in nature. I hate the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I hate the Knicks with every fiber of my being. I don't understand why. I feel like it was ingrained in my DNA. I hate the Knicks. I hate the Knicks. And the Milwaukee Bucks, listen, I hate the Bucks. I just hate the Bucks because they're there, man. I just hate them because they're there. Even though this had been a depressing season so far, you have to give the boys credit for how they've been able to stay close in a lot of these games, even with some of the losses. I would give them credit if it wasn't they always had to come back from behind, right? If you just played tough throughout the whole game and the game was close, I give you a lot more credit than you playing like complete and absolute dog water to start the game, and that's because I didn't want to say dog shit. To start the game, and then you play with a little heart in the stretch. Like, don't get me wrong, I always love seeing heart from the team, but it's like it shouldn't take that. It shouldn't take that. Bet Zach till he traded his emotional ass effing up the chemistry, a problem that was trying to resurrect star of the season. I mean, listen, if it gets to the point, if we see this situation boil over to the point where they John Wall, Zack LaVine, to where they just tell him to stay at home, that would be crazy. That'd be crazy. And I'm not saying it's outside the realm of possibility, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. Quentin from Let's Talk Bull says, I think they said the clutch numbers for the season are amazing. We just always we're always so behind. It doesn't help. Yeah, we're like one of the best clutch teams in the NBA, which is crazy, right? Because it doesn't show in the win. Like I said, we have a positive, it's like 19.3 in clutch situations, but we're 3-5 in clutch games. It's crazy. It's wild. Bull saying we doing Zach wrong when he does deserve some criticism. I wasn't like we wasn't patient with this play to show if he's an alpha for 7 years when he lack IQ and gets in the way. I mean, listen, anybody saying that Zack LaVine is above criticism is just trying to be contradictory for the sake of just having something to say, right? Zack LaVine absolutely deserves criticism, as does a lot of this roster. It's not Zach that only deserves criticism, but to say that Zach doesn't deserve criticism at all is foolish. So, it is what it is. So that's just what it comes down to. The last time the Pistons won was against the Bulls, 11-game losing. That's crazy. That's crazy. Bucks, Celtics, and Nuggets finna blow out their opponents tonight. Y'all see who they playing, and let's get this dub, Chicago. Hey, if I hope the Bulls can get it. I always hope the Bulls can get a win, though. This is shocking to me that Bam is giving Vucevic problems because Nikola Vucevic has had his best games of the season versus Miami all last season. Is that true? I'd have to go back and look at that. I'm not saying you're wrong on that. I'm just, that doesn't sound right to me. But hey, it may be. It may be. Young Bino says, let's just not start off 22-1 again. That was rough to watch. What up, Haize? How you doing? What's going on, Young Bino? Glad to have you in the building. And yeah, listen, a 22-1 start is not what you want to see from any team that you root for, man. Like, that's crazy. That's wild. Haize, the quarter zip got you looking like an assistant coach. So you wouldn't want me out there, bro, because I'd smack the hell out of somebody. Somebody would be getting open hand smacked. Period. I hear people talking about Zack, which might be fair, but please give the same energy to the organization for 30 years of nothing. Listen, I mean that you can't say nothing because we did have the Derrick Rose era, and they built a really good team. That team was actually better the year that Derrick Rose went down with injury. I really do think that would have been the year the Bulls probably would have made it to the finals. Would they have won? Woulda, coulda, shoulda in that one. But listen, at the end of the day, like the proof is in the pudding. And this team really has to look at themselves and try to figure out something different to get to a better place. So, Young Bino says a lot of people do overlook the front office. Listen, that's why I had my video today. I don't know if you guys got to see it or not. The video that I posted on the channel for the daily episode this morning was literally the title. What was the title of it? I felt like it was a dope title. The Chicago Bulls front office finds themselves in a storm of their own creation. Because the front office absolutely deserves criticism for where they are right now. The series of decisions that they have made have led us here. It has, right? It led us to this point where we are right now. And they definitely deserve criticism for that as well. Archangel says Caruso is amazing, but Billy Donovan loves Caruso so much he's going to love him to death or early retirement. I said that as well, Archangel. I think I said that over on Locked On Bulls. I just hope that starting Alex Caruso at the 4, he doesn't get hurt and go down again. Like, that's what I hope. I hope that that's not the case. We know Alex Caruso was a dog. He's going to fight with every fiber of his being, but I'm just worried about that a little bit. Quentin says, this Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for more Chicago Bulls. That's hilarious. Listen, I may give y'all less. No, I'm just playing. Even with as bad as we've been, you're still here making content over this team. Zach got his max and dipped. It's sad because this is the first iteration of the team I've been a fan of. This is the first iteration of the Bulls you've been a fan of. Well, man, you missed some great times. I hate that you came into this iteration of the Bulls because, man, we've had some really fun times as Bulls fans. They've been trash. That's why I don't blame Billy Donovan. He can only work with. Oh no, Billy Donovan definitely deserves blame too. You don't win. Yes, this roster's flawed, but you don't even use players to their best situations. Your rotations suck and your adjustments suck. Now, Billy Donovan isn't abstaining from criticism at all either. Everybody can get it because they all deserve criticism. Always wanted to say y'all podcast and CHGO and a few other channels are my therapy during this time, especially when Petty Roosevelt's come out. I had to step away from people telling me to be optimistic. I mean, listen, the thing is, like I said before, that rant that I went on with my frustration with the Bulls, I won't even say that was Petty Roosevelt because I didn't do like Petty Roosevelt is when I'm literally trying to be petty. There wasn't a petty bone in my body when I went on that rant. It was simply my frustrations of being a fan of this team for my 36 years on this planet. Like, that's just it. Like, I'm so frustrated with seeing the ways and opportunities and things that we've done or not done and all the things that go into that. Like, it's been really frustrating as a Bulls fan. It just has. Who's been the more key player for the Bulls between Carter and Craig? I mean, I think they both have in their own ways, to be honest with you. I think Torrey Craig definitely brings it, and his rebounding has been good. The shots has come and gone. And the Javon Carter really coming off the bench has been really important, really changing the tone of some of these games. So I don't know if I can say which one has been better or not. Very different roles, too. Like Stacey, he gonna need an Uber to get to the bathroom. Can't keep playing him at the 4. Yeah, see, and that's the thing that I really worry about is that injury concern with it. I want to see I or AC or Carter to start. Kobe just not ready yet. His playmaking got more to work on. Kobe need to play with the second unit to better with him. See, I disagree on that just by the sense of he has to learn. Like, he has to learn. He's been off the bench, right? Kobe's come off the bench. He started one season for us. He's come off the bench for the last 2 years. To me, if you truly are invested in Kobe White as your starter, he's not playing nearly as bad as what Patrick Williams is playing. You let him learn the job. And you have to learn the job. It's just like, listen, if you constantly keep somebody in training, when they start their job, they will never be ready to actually run the floor, whether you're in sales, whether you're in anything. At some point, you got to cut them loose. You got to cut the tether, and you got to let them go out and sink or swim. And I think that that's the place where Kobe is right now. 23 years old. He's coming into his 5th year in the league. It's time for Kobe White to figure it out. If he is going to be able to be a starter, to me, it's time for him to figure it out. And there's no better season than this. And then especially, I think you want to keep him in that rhythm because if you do, when you trade Zack LaVine, depending on what you get back, let's say you get a point guard back, or let's say you get a small forward back, whatever you end up getting. Kobe White, depending on what you get back from Zach, is probably going to see an increased scoring load and an increased dependence on what he does well. And for that, you want to keep him in that rhythm. So I understand why people are saying bench Kobe. Don't get me wrong, but I think that again, this season, Javon Carter ain't going to change much for the Chicago Bulls. AC, even starting at the point guard, he'll change some, especially if he keeps shooting the way he is and he's better defensively. But I think if you're truly invested in Kobe White being your starter and you're looking at him and saying, hey, Zach is on his way out. You're a scorer. We may actually be able to put you in more of scoring situations, whether you're starting at the point or we move you to the two. I think that you keep Kobe White as that starting point guard and you let him figure out that job on the fly. You're losing either way, right? So that's kind of my standpoint on it, but I know that's not what everybody's going to feel. What do you think about moving DeMar back to the two guard when Zach is traded? Do you think him and Kobe would fit better that way than DeMar being at the three? No, because Kobe and DeMar are actually, if you look at their plus minus when they're on the court together, they don't play well together at all. And I think the time for DeMar at the two is past. For somebody who doesn't stretch the floor at all, I just can't see him being a two guard in this league anymore. Personal opinion, not saying everybody's going to share that, but that's my personal opinion. I think Vooch is versus Bam is the key matchup today. Yeah, it definitely can be. Vooch really sometimes, I think Vooch can always be the key matchup though, because if you can get your big guy going offensively and he's rebounding the ball well, it makes so much easier out on the perimeter. There are some young players out there that can help the Bulls and fill their holes. Woes. First of all, what's woes, bro? Like, what you got going on over there, fam? Like, is that the Dwight Howard sign? I don't know what that is. I doubt Acme does anything. I mean, listen, no, they're doing something. Zach is getting traded. It just sees what they're going to do for it. It is what it is. How much would you expect to get back from DeMar, Zach, or Vooch? Listen, and that's what that's the thing. This team, I need everybody to realize it. If they trade Zack LaVine, they are not blowing it all up. They are literally trading Zack LaVine to get some future assets. But what part of what they want in this, there's also players that can come in and help fill some of the gaps on this team. I don't think they trade DeMar. I don't think they trade Vooch. The only way that they would trade DeMar DeRozan is if DeMar asked for a trade. And so I think that you're going to see the Zack LaVine trade. You're going to see those pieces come in and fill some gaps, whatever, with this team. And I think that's going to be pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it. Dennis says, I'm okay with P. Will not scoring as long as he works on defense and offense rebounds. He is just not a scorer. Correct. Listen, and I'll say this as well with P. Will. I think everybody does kind of focus on scoring with P. Will, and I understand it. But there are ways that you can impact the game without scoring. And I think Patrick Williams, that goes back to that energy and effort thing from him, though. If Patrick starts playing with the energy, with the determination, he is a player that can go out and get you 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, whatever, a block or two, and he can get you that, right? Now, is that typically what you want from somebody you spent a number 4 overall pick to do? No, but like I said in the video, a week or so ago, at this point, I'm done with the potential P. Will. Not to say I'm done with P. Will, I'm just done with it until he shows me. But P. Will can bring some of those type of things and stuff the stat sheet in other ways, absolutely. How old are you, bro? I was only 5 and 98. I remember looking out the window and seeing people going crazy, blowing their horns in the street. I'm 36 years old. I'll be 37 in a little over 2 weeks. My birthday's December 5th. So yeah, 98, that I would have been 12 years old. I was 12 years old in 98. 6266 Jamal in the building says, what up, Haize? Let's go, Bulls. I'm surprised I haven't got a voicemail from you with all this crazy shit going on, bro. But I know life be lifing. Shout out to you and your family. I hope everybody's doing well. Let's see. Bulls will need to move on from P. Will. He's not trying to P. Will have I don't give a fuck attitude. What's going on with P. Will? But bench his ass. I'm tired of looking at his sorry ass. His ass is straight. That's crazy. You're still gonna see P. Will. You're gonna see P. Will. You're gonna see him play. I mean, it just comes down to P. Will isn't going to hit the ceiling that people thought. That doesn't mean he still can't have a solid NBA career, because he can, but he just needs to wake the fuck up. Bobby going off on Bear Central was the funniest thing I've seen in a while. He literally got angry the more he thought about that loss. Listen, when Bobby goes off, it's funny because Bobby's usually the mellow one out of all of us, right? C-Dub's loud and crazy. I'm Haize, which is a combination of everything. And then Bobby's usually the calming factor. When Bobby goes off, you know he's really pissed. You know he's pissed when Bobby goes off. What's weird about this team is that they do not give up, whereas teams in the past years will go down by 20 and give up. I mean, listen, to me, I just look at it like they come out flat. I don't know if it's much better. It's just a different struggle. It's just different, right? I don't know if it's much better. You come out flat, like you've literally lost games because you come out. It's just as bad as losing games because you don't have energy and heart down the stretch. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. One of the craziest things about Bobby Portis, I guess is what you mean, situation is the fact that we tried to give him 50 million. Can you turn that down and ended up getting the same amount of money 3 years later? It was longer than 3 years later. I think it was like 4 or 5 years later, wasn't it? Maybe it was only 3 years later. That felt like a long time. I'm going to give up smoking crack if the Bulls make the playoffs. That's crazy. That's wild. You're going to be smoking crack for a while there, my guy. Robert says Memphis was missing a lot of players and they almost beat Boston. Listen, any given day in basketball, any given day. Flus or Donovan in a brawl. Billy Donovan strikes me as somebody who's not afraid to fight dirty. Like Flus to me is like he wants to try to have that pride of like Flus fights like this. He still gets that stance when he fights. I feel like Billy Donovan will pick up a brick like Smokey and knock your ass out and keep it pushing. So at least that's my thought on it. Humble Servant says, no, he ain't lying. You, the podcast GOAT, your collaboration, insight, and bringing together along with you. You deserve every one of your flowers. Well, I think that, man. I definitely believe in, knowledge is better when it's shared. And if you can't bring your people with you, what you doing, man? That's really what I feel. Let's see, they got the starting lineup. They've been getting these starting lineups out. Soon as I give them credit for getting the starting lineups out consistently 30 minutes before game, they start fucking up every single time. Edwin in the building says, Haize, what up, fam? Question. You think we come out trailing or making sense to play ball? I mean, listen, I have no idea with this team, bro. I would love to be able to tell you that this team is going to come in. They're going to start the game with some energy. They're going to be bringing it. I would love to be able to tell you that. But the fact of the matter is, this is the Chicago Bulls that we're talking about. And I can't bet on nothing but disappointment. That's the one thing I can bet on with this team. Is this a fucking appointment? That's it. That's all I got for you, bro. Can you say what people are talking about with Zack being angry? I tried to find an interview for last game and did not see one. Cedric, it's on the channel. If you go to my shorts channel page, I think, don't give me the line. I think it's the most recent shorts I posted. Let me check for you. Give me 1 second. Is the most recent short? Yeah, it's the most recent shorts on the channel. Damn, that short got 8,000 views. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all. By the way, if you're not subscribed to the channel, double check. Go ahead and hit that subscribe. I'm trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the season. Haize, Bobby, Kev, Steve-O, Unk, C-Dub, y'all better get in tune. They be on one. Just love y'all channel. Appreciate you, Auntie. Appreciate you. I don't like calling Zack soft. He's actually human, and he hears shit too. So he has the right to feel some type of way, but he can be criticized, but not beat up on. Hey, listen, this is the way that I take it, right? When you open, he is absolutely open to criticism. And some of that criticism is going to be harsh. That doesn't mean that it's warranted, but it's going to be harsh. That's the era that we live in, especially when everybody now has a platform to get their opinions off on. James says, I hope when all this Zack stuff blows over once the Bulls go on a win streak, and I don't think he has officially asked for a trade. James, here's what I can say. And if you trust me, and if you know the integrity that I have on this channel, I have it from people that I would literally trust with almost my life, that Zack LaVine's, at least his agent, requested a trade. I have that on high authority. This is not nothing that I report on because I don't want to put my source out there, but I tell you that I have it confirmed from two people that have not been on the podcast but that I have connections with, that I literally trust the most in this whole Bulls space, that have said that Zack LaVine's agency has requested a trade. So I'm taking that for what it's worth. Could their information be faulty? Absolutely. But that's the thing that I've heard. And so that's what I've been operating off of, is that this is actually a trade request. I don't think a win streak is going to make this blow over. That's my personal opinion. I would love to be wrong on that. I would love to be able to say the Bulls have won on a 5-game winning streak. Zack LaVine no longer wants to be traded, whatever. I would love to be able to bring that to you guys. But what I'm hearing from people personally, that it is a trade request. That's what I'm personally hearing. Humble servant checks and says, duly noted on the Rose era, but my expectation was Tom playing Rose. Exception was Tom playing Rose with 30 seconds or less and playing him change the franchise. Listen, the thing that I look at it is this, and I get what you're coming at, and that's something we're always going to say, is why Derrick Rose is even in that game. But I think when you look at the way Derrick Rose played, the fact that he then went on to tear his meniscus later, that injury was coming at some point for Derrick Rose one day or another. So Young Bino says, yeah, I watch all your videos, bro. You the voice for me. I appreciate that, man. I truly appreciate that. DD 2014 says, your video today was spot on. The front office in action in a lot of spots led to a lot of the problems we have now. Yeah, and that's just what it is, right? That's not to say that coaching hasn't been a problem, not to say health hasn't been a problem. It's not to say that some of the aspects with the team haven't been a problem, but I think the series of events that the front office decided to do has led us to this spot. And I honestly think had the Bulls just toughed it out and did what they initially came in and said, we're going to build through the draft, we're going to build organically, we're going to develop, I think that we would honestly be in a better place right now had we held on to what we had on. As far as that doesn't mean that Wendell still wouldn't have been traded. That doesn't mean that you still wouldn't eventually move Gafford. It doesn't mean that. But I'm just saying, had they not tried to make their big move to win now, then I think we'd be winning more currently than what we did over that. That's just my personal opinion. As a mate says, hey, Haize, do you think Zack gets benched tonight? I think it would have to take a lot for Zack to get benched. I really think that. Damn nephew, 36 years old, I'm 43. Yeah, listen, I'm not Bob. Bobby's the young one. I'm not Bobby. I'm damn near 40. It's crazy. I look good as a motherfucker, but I'm damn near 40. My kid's upstairs screaming. Crazy. I like to see Kobe develop. Bulls dropped an all access video about Kobe today with CP3. Yeah, I saw that video. I always love the all access stuff. Always love the all access stuff. They always do really, really good on that. Zack LaVine needs to look at himself in the mirror too, to why he's not winning. It's not all on him, but he is part of the problem. Look at the roster Jimmy Butler had in 2016-17 and made the playoffs. I mean, listen, yes, Zack LaVine needs to also look at himself and hold himself personally responsible for some of that. Now, there is absolutely blame to go around. There's blame to coaching staff. There's blame to the front office. But you also got to look at it and say you wanted to be the guy, right? And that comes with a certain level of expectations. Racky hell. Listen, I don't. Please phonetically spell it so I can get it, because if I see it phonetically, I'll spell it better. Says, hey, Haize, rarely do I disagree with you, bro, but I do think DeMar can still play the two. Hey, listen, I'm not saying that everybody's going to share my opinion. I just look at DeMar now. The fact that he's even worse playing off ball than what he was younger in his career when he played with Kyle Lowry. And I say that DeMar kind of has to play the three. Now, I could be wrong on that. And if I am wrong, then I'm wrong. I also think that as long as Kobe and DeMar, what the numbers tell us is that they just don't play well together right now. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not saying you're wrong either. I was watching your Locked On with Pat, and I agree with you. Zack want to act like that's not what I said. Want to act like a bitch on his way out. Think you're finna send him. So, that part, since he want to go all laugh in his face. Listen, little famo, my point of this is, if Zack LaVine wants out, cool. But I'm not trading you to a place that's best for you unless it's also best for what we need as a team. I'm first and foremost looking at what helps improve my team. What is the best deal for the Chicago Bulls? That's what I'm looking at first in the Zack LaVine trade. That's it. And no disrespect to you or anything, but listen, we got a franchise to run. So that's where I kind of sit on it. Is BBL already playing tonight? Probably. Everyone wants people to be Kawhi or Dang. I wouldn't mind seeing a Sean Marion. Listen, that is honestly not a bad comp, right? And like the thing is, like comparison aside, the fact of the matter is Patrick Williams has the size, the skill, because we've seen it. He has all of that to be comparable to those guys. But it comes down to mindset. It comes down to what's between his ears. That's what it comes down to. He has to play better. He has to play better. Xavier Garcia says, "Are there just not enough minutes to go around for Javon Carter? I don't understand why he's so underutilized." I talked about this before. So Billy Donovan typically goes 9 players deep. And then that 10th player kind of fluctuate in and out depending on the matchup or whatever else is going on. We've seen Billy Donovan literally since the start of the season go 10 deep. So that right there is cutting a lot of minutes that would have been there for Javon Carter just by playing that 10th man kind of inconsistently. I also think Ayo Dosunmu really thriving in his bench role has contributed to that as well hugely. So those are kind of things that are going on. Now, does Billy Donovan eventually have to constrict it? Possibly, right? We'll see. But yeah, same starters for tonight, guys. Kobe White, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso, and Nikola Vucevic is your starting lineup today, guys. So there you go on that one. Who's your most overrated and underrated player in Bulls history? Ooh. I'd have to sit back and really think about that one. I would really have to think about it. I think underrated to me, just off the top of my head, I go to Tony Kukoc. Only because I really do think I think Tony could have been if he had like a higher place in that hierarchy as far as shots per game. I think Tony Kukoc would have been even better than what we think of him at. But I really have to sit. That was the type of question I really want to sit back and think about. Juan Miller in the building says, just want to say, hey, it's nice fit. Appreciate it. Subtle on this one, right? We're going subtle on this. We're not going high drip factor on this one. We're going subtle. Do Steve-O and Big Kev have a channel? No, you can't catch them on NBA Central, though. They do a lot of stuff over on NBA Central. LaVine was an all-star last season, therefore we need an all-star back. That's not realistic. This ain't 2K. So very rarely do you run that. Was Zach an all-star last year? He was all-star the season before, right? Or was he all-star last year too? Let me see now. Now you got me tripping. So he was an all-star in 2021 to 2021 and 21-22. So it wasn't an all-star in 22-23. Unless I'm tripping on that one. Yeah, he's only been a 2-time all-star. So Zach LaVine actually was not an all-star last year. Sorry, y'all. I always try not to cough in y'all ear like that. Honestly, they need Zach to play to build his trade value. The only thing I'm going to push back on that is like I said, at this point, teams know what Zach LaVine can bring. If they sit Zach LaVine right now, I don't think it's going to change his trade value much because it's not like teams are just going off the season for Zach LaVine's trade value. Teams have a whole staff to just go over analytics. They know who and what Zach LaVine is. So I don't really think it really changes Zach LaVine's trade. The only thing I think could really change Zach LaVine's trade value is an injury. That's, I think, the only thing that could change his trade value right now. Big Ten, that's actually false. Patrick Williams actually has hustled for a couple of boards. In some games, he's just really inconsistent. Really inconsistent. Trade Raleigh for says, bro, I'm tired of these Chicago owners. Why do they pick thirds head coach who don't win shit and just a cancer to the locker room? Billy and Eberflus need to be fired. Listen, Eberflus, that he better be out of there, bro. Like Eberflus got to go. Eberflus has to go. Boozer is overrated. Now, I actually think Boozer has become underrated because of how many people just shit on Boozer. Like Boozer gave us two really, really good seasons. Was he good defensively? Hell no. He was bad defensively the whole time, but we knew he was bad defensively when we got him in here. So that's my thought on it. MC Season in the building says, "Sup, Haize? How you feeling?" And I'm feeling pretty good, MC Season. I see MC Season with the thirst trap on his Avi now. Sydney says, "I guess there's trade buzz on Alex and Paul. They may want them more. Listen, I highly doubt Patrick Williams has much trade value right now. Alex Caruso, no, I can absolutely see Alex Caruso for a championship level team wanting, because think about it this way, right? When you hear that Alex Caruso, there's more trade buzz is because his contract's less and shorter. He's only under contract. He has a partial guarantee for next year. You can match his contract easily at $9.5 million, and you know what he brings to help kind of up that championship culture if you have it. So I'm not really too surprised at that. Not too surprised at that. Can you see any scenario where the team does not move, Zach? From what I'm hearing, no. From what I'm hearing, no. But that doesn't mean that it's not the case, right? Nothing's 100%. But from what I'm hearing, no. I don't think there's any case in where any chance they don't move him. So that's my personal feeling on the things that I've heard. Samuel says, "How did you like Tony Kukoc back in the day?" Oh, great, Tony Kukoc. I have the utmost respect for Tony Kukoc. I love his game. I actually think nowadays Tony Kukoc would probably be even better in the league before. Do you think DeRozan is bad on defense? Yes. Well, is that a question? That's a universal truth at this point. Like, that's a universal truth. Death, taxes, and DeMar DeRozan's terrible on defense. That's now a universal truth. Absolutely. Absolutely. But all right, y'all. About to go ahead and wrap this one up, man. We'll be back at halftime for the game. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you are not subscribed to the channel. We're trying to get to our goal of 20,000 subscribers by the end of the season. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you follow the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, and we'll be back at halftime, y'all. Peace.